Hi there, welcome to FMCG by Alex. My name is Alex, and today I would like to talk to you about the non-food category, so everything that's not food inside a supermarket. So before I dive into the what and why, let's start with the subcategories. So basically, you have household essentials. So part of this is can be promotional, can be, let's say, spring cleaning week, where you actually have these things on special promotion or specific cleaning items that are normally not included in the assortment. So you have to imagine that all this non-food is in the context of promotions. Is usually used to um, temporarily expand the home category. So you're talking about household essentials. Normally, you have things like that on the regular shelf, so there's a large portion of it, but it can also be temporary. So this is very much linked to moments where cleaning or spring cleaning, for example, could be a topic. Then health and beauty normally depends a bit on the country you live in, but let's say Indonesia, for example, health and beauty is very much in the end of the year. So December, you have online a lot of promotions, but supermarkets also can do this sort of thing. So health and beauty normally is also a fixed category. Of course, all of these are fixed categories, but can be very limited and can be expanded temporarily. So you have like a thematic health and beauty week or month, then can bring in a lot more brands and see also what flies. And normally things that are doing well in those, let's say, promotional periods, the supermarkets can decide whether this makes sense to list as a regular fixture. Then homeware, so you have glassware, plates, forks, knives, anything that is used actually to, somewhere in the house, basically. So again, this is very much linked to a specific time of the year where people are thinking about that, can differ per country. Electronics and gadgets actually like 365 days a year. So yeah, can be anything from cell phones to video game consoles to anything that would come to fall into the electronics and gadget series. So let's say you would have more towards summer holidays. You would have more holiday related for camping and all those things, or maybe something that is mosquito repellent, that sort of stuff. Then clothing and accessories also 365 days a year, basically, where the supermarkets normally have a very limited assortment here, which is more on an in-out basis, because clothing and accessories are more fashion prone to fashion trends. So in the end, to have a fixed assortment of this in your store is maybe not really suitable, because let's face it, if you have, let's say, you live in a country with four seasons, where the four seasons are really different in their let's say what people wear, like the climates, basically. So the temperatures, the what people wear is also different. And every year, of course, fashion, colors, etc., are different. So to keep this going, that is definitely something that works well. Clothing and accessories also around specific times. So let's say I've worked long time in Indonesia, where just before the Ramadan, or let's say the Eid, that is the Muslim festive month, basically. Before Eid, they would have Muslim fashion, for example. So, because it is very customary, just like I think in the West during Christmas, that put on your Sunday best, so to speak, and with Eid in Muslim countries, these is also accustomed to buy something new or have new clothes. And normally supermarkets and hypermarkets, so the hypermarket format in Indonesia is quite omnipresent. So they have more space for that sort of stuff. So supermarkets normally have less space for this, but it can be store concept, or they do it in a specific a specific setting where you can actually select from a catalog or something. But that's basically time sensitive, and because Eid shifts every year, so the Ramadan also shifts every year. So that is normally the month where, strangely enough, people are not allowed to eat, but food consumption goes through the roof, because people are not eating all day, but then in the evening they are buying extra, or they're eating extra, consuming more, I think, per definition. It's not meant to be, but I mean, it's just a side effect of it. And indeed, the fact that people are buying new clothes, yeah, that's normally also a tradition in Ramadan. So during Ramadan and for Eid, basically. Then you have garden and outdoor. Again, this is very seasonal. So you're talking about running up to the warmer months of the year. People are looking to, do something with garden and outdoor. So you have, let's say, spring and summer. It's the peak season. Then autumn, it still can be with specific things for autumn. So you have more like in a country like the Netherlands, for example, you have autumn can be sunny, it can be very rainy and dark and also cold. So the autumn can also be a place where you have to basically have, let's say, something to put a fire in or heating. It can also be electronics and gadgets, but I mean, garden and outdoor normally. In the winter, garden and outdoor is less popular here because, there's nothing to put in the ground, and to sit outside is not fun in the snow, basically. So then toys and games again all year long. It's normally the back to school part is part of this, although it's more on the stationery and office supplies, which I will cover in a moment. You're talking about toys and games being something that is all year round. It's if you have a good assortment of this in your store, it's definitely something that really makes a difference for people. So normally with all these categories, it is choosing what you want to be best in or what you want to be known for. If you don't have any kids coming to your stores, you're making getting toys and games out of people with kids. Basically, we are more catering to an older demographic. Yeah, toys and games might not be as relevant, although maybe board games might be, because older people might play board games. They're not from the video games generation. Then pet supplies also really depends a little bit on how big the category is inside of your store. So if you have a lot of pet owners visiting your store, meaning also the regular sales of your category are quite extensive, then it makes sense to do this more intensively with pet supplies. Can be anything, and especially around spring, summer, you have, for example, flea collars. That sort of stuff is normally more popular for the moments when the fleas wake up and actually are harassing your pet. So in the end, pet supplies can be also quite a seasonal thing, although you see them almost all year round. Then you have stationery and office supplies. Like I mentioned, this back to school is quite a popular time for this. So you have kids need to have a new agenda. Kids need to have, like all sorts of writing materials, office supply materials. Basically, office supplies will basically more be a school supplies in this case. And office supplies can be also all year round, where people are just stocking up. Normally, office supplies are quite a regular fixture in the supermarket, but sometimes it's thematic to expand it a bit. But usually in combination with a back to school or another event where kids are just coming back from holiday and need to stock up on something new. Then automotive. Automotive is basically everything you use for the car. Can be cleaning, can be maintenance, can be any gadgets also for the car. Although that can also be the electronics and gadgets series. But normally it's thematic. That you have everything for the car, like where people are buying things that like seat covers or something like that. That could be something that the supermarket doesn't have room for in the regular assortment, but then temporarily wants to expand that, to be a bit broader on the automotive side. Depends also a little bit on, you know, uh, how many people are frequenting this that could possibly fall into this target category. So don't do it blindly. If you're a supermarket owner, supermarket buyer, don't blindly go after this sort of promotions without actually first doing your research and seeing like, okay, is the target audience there for me? Then, seasonal holiday, obviously, like I mentioned, also Ramadan. There are, of course, specific items that are sold around Ramadan, praying clothes, maybe, various things that are really specific to religion. Can be Christmas as well. Christmas, of course, in the West is more, more of a tradition than, I guess, other religions, basically. Europe is more as a Christian heritage, basically. So Christmas is more a thing for Europeans, and yeah, you have all these things that are Santa related, and various countries have their own version. Like in Holland, we have another holiday, for example, it's just before Christmas on the 5th of December. It's another time when kids get gifts. So then, logically, you see here normally that supermarkets a week or two before they selling more toys and games, and more of these seasonal things, like for example the suit to dress up like the Santa, or as Sinterklaas as we call it here in Holland. That's the was again the 5th of December version of Santa Claus. So in the end, you have these seasonal items. Now, Easter can be things with eggs. Thanksgiving in the US is, of course, also a seasonal time of the year to do this. You have for Chinese, you have the Chinese New Year, of course, is a seasonal. So it's all across the world, I guess, nowadays with regards to Chinese New Year. It's for every uh, event, you have to basically look at the calendar, and not only if you own a supermarket or you work for a supermarket, but if you are a clever product developer, you have something specific for these festive for the festive calendar. So your Father's Day, your Mother's Day. Father's Day, you will probably go for something maybe automotive. For Mother's Day, maybe more for health and beauty. These are things that are, I guess, no brainers when it comes to linking something to a specific time of the year. Then, last but not least, you have sports and leisure. That's also, of course, more of a summer thing, or a spring and summer thing, basically. Although in the winter, of course, you have more snow-related sports and leisure products, basically. So this is also very broad. Depends also a little bit on the country. You see, like some categories are very popular in some countries, and other categories actually are, been waning in popularity depending on the market. Um, Having said that, this is actually for supermarkets definitely a way to distinguish themselves and temporarily expand the shelf space for some of the categories that they are already having very little of, and then say, okay, let's do this. Shouldn't do it every time. Maybe you don't have the space, or maybe you feel like, okay, once a year people are willing to spend money on this, but that's it. So that is like almost like inviting another store inside of your store and doing this. So that's also the way sometimes this is done, where other stores are actually invited to do a shop in shop concept and say, okay, I don't want to, think about, let's say, sports shoes. I actually just invite a sports shoe store to open up a shop in shop for a while, and people are allowed to buy these items through that shop in shop, and I don't worry about returns or the category or anything like that. All these things are possible to negotiate, of course, and depending on the partners you can find. So then we come to the what and why. So basically, we've gone over the categories just now, but in essence, what this comes down to is that for supermarkets, this is a high margin and quick cash conversion cycle. So for brand owners, of course, it's a way to, sometimes you can clear product through this method. So you have supermarkets that specialize really in clearing out items. Normally quantities are large enough for some of these supermarkets to actually really have productions completely geared towards the supermarkets. But in essence, it's a high margin product category for all the supermarkets, and for producers, of course. You have a very big chunk of goods that you sell in one go. So that is the reason why a lot of this stuff is introduced. um, Having said that, most of this in what is currently sold in Europe is actually made in China. Obviously, China has the lowest production costs for almost any product. So there are stores that are completely consisting of Chinese non-food products, basically, or Chinese-made non-food products. Which, again, that high margin part is then even emphasized if it's produced in Europe. It can be something very local where maybe there is no Chinese supplier, but I mean, normally they come from China. So then, of course, you have quick cash conversion. So in essence, yeah, in essence, that's something that means that if you put it there, it's very quickly in and out. It really creates a sense of excitement and discovery. So, in essence, if I see it like the way non-food should be presented, and that is actually, yeah, basically to give your shoppers something to look forward to. Oh, this week they have shoes, for example, in the supermarket, which normally they don't have. And, you know, even though it might not be anything special, it's actually something that is just, they are excited by the fact that they encounter this in a place where they normally don't encounter this, and it's a one-stop shop because you're doing your groceries, which is, yeah, no fun for anyone basically to do groceries. That's, it's a necessary ordeal for people, and there are people who enjoy it, but mostly, yeah, you want to basically look, oh, can I pick up something, and normally the prices also are cheaper than in other channels. So that's something that is quite interesting for shoppers to, yeah, it adds to the excitement, I guess, and also the discovery. So then, I already covered high margin. So in essence, it can be 50% or higher in on non-food. Non-food definitely needs to be 30% and up, basically. So depends a little bit. Let's say if you have, for example, something like, these toys like building blocks, Lego, etc. Now that's a branded item. Maybe the margins might be lower than that, but then again, everybody will buy it because it might be cheaper than anywhere else, or something thematic for that specific time of the year. Usually this fear of missing out is enough to, make sure that anything you put there is actually gone in a blink of an eye. Then, like I mentioned, in and out is the quick conversion, cash conversion cycle. So in essence, the cash conversion cycle is, if I put something on the shelf, how quickly is it sold? How quickly is it converted to cash again? To tie up stock, tie up a lot of money in stock actually is, yeah, of course, gives you a longer cash conversion cycle, which is not a very good thing for retail business. Retail businesses are really depending on the daily takings, and then they can reinvest it in stock for tomorrow, basically. So in essence, that's the most simple thing. Of course, most companies have bigger reserves, but I mean, that's the reason why it's in and out. So uh, normally, also there is no expiry date in general. Yeah, I'm just talking about things that, you can't put something indefinitely on the shelf, like with it will of course deteriorate in quality at some point. But I mean, mostly, yeah, it's handled by people. Normally, you have these things that are, let's say, the leftovers. Yeah, they are a bit tattered basically already. So, but no expiry date means that actually it keeps its value. You can still sell it. There are still people who are able to buy it even after a specific period of time, and sometimes it can even be that things that are taken off the shop floor and then put back on a couple of weeks later are still selling again. So people, hey, this is actually something that I haven't seen for a couple of weeks or haven't seen for a couple of months, and then it comes back. Now that's something that happens, and it's the psychology, I guess, behind it. So then the ability to connect it to a theme, that is also very important for non-food, where you say, okay, you have these specific times of the year, but you can also make your own theme, of course. If you say, like, look, this is something that today I would like to make something for kids. Now, the next 2 weeks is Kids Week in this supermarket of mine. Now, then that's basically something you can collect a number of suppliers who can fill in the blanks basically for you. So that's normally the problem. If you look at it, it sounds very simple, like, oh, just get a couple of suppliers together and then coordinate that you can get all these products for the right price. That is a day job. So this is actually something that only very few supermarkets can do in a very efficient way. Um, yeah, and in essence, it's something that, how you say this, like, it's more like a putting all the moving pieces together actually is difficult for supporters. I've tried myself to put a program like this together in Indonesia. Now that's basically a problem that I wanted to do it with both food and non-food. But so the non-food is not a problem. The food was a problem because Indonesia has a longer approval rate for private label products. So we wanted to do something with a specific thematic week, then we would need to wait 5 months to get approval from the food and safety from the FDA, basically in Indonesia, to get this private label approved. So this requires a long planning ahead. So basically, my supermarket at that time was unable to, do this in a timely fashion, and I think also with regards to scale, we were simply not having enough outlets at that particular time to really do the volume to make sense of it. Now, the thing is, like, you need to be able to refresh in a 2 to 4 week cycle. You need to refresh everything. So you have to imagine also that is the reason why supermarkets have a limited number of customers that come to the supermarket. So let's say it's 10,000 people, for example, who shop in your supermarket every week. So during the week they come there, and let's say in 2 weeks' time, everybody has been there basically who comes to your supermarket. So it doesn't make sense to keep something on the shelf if in the first 2 weeks people haven't picked it up and said, "Hey, I want this." Yeah, so the sales will be declining very much in the third and the fourth week, namely. Um, Having said that, yeah, depending a little bit on the size of your store and of course how much space you are willing to put, but a 2 to 4 week cycle. So 2 weeks is ideal. 4 weeks if only logistical challenges, etc. Normally, if you look at the two leading supermarkets who do this absolutely masterfully, both on the food and the non-food side, by the way. So if you look at non-food as a category, Aldi and Lidl are basically the kings of this genre. If I look at the comparison, and I like both companies very much. They both have their advantages, but if you look at my experience so far with Aldi, has been that anything you buy at Aldi, they have tested it through A to Z, so it's always good quality, and they don't take rubbish. They don't just take things that are cheap. With Lidl, it's a bit 50-50. So you have things that are cheap, but then maybe, are not as good quality as, you get what you pay for. If it's cheap, then it can also be something that, lasts you not as long as you would like to, basically. So having said that, they have good stuff as well. So, but it's a different way of looking at it. Lidl is probably doing more. They're more successful with their entire range, but that's basically because, they emphasize, I think, more of this rotation parts. Okay, you don't want it, then we'll rotate. So they have these sort of modular approach where they put new products actually in big buckets, like sort of with wheels under it, so you can just move it into place, click it into place, and when this thing is empty, you just drive it to the truck and you can fill it up again, or it comes already packaged like that, or like in a modular form with the truck, basically. And whatever is left over, so let's say after 2 weeks, the leftover stock is actually moved to a specific area of the non-food section. So there is in the middle of the store's non-food section. The specific area is actually designated for leftovers. So you have last of everything, and they usually discount it even further. But that's only after really something is after 4 weeks not sold yet, basically. Then that's last chance or something like that they put on it, and it's again, it's very successful. I would not be surprised if the majority of the sales actually coming from or the majority of the revenue from Aldi and Lidl would actually come from non-food in this case. If you look at every pro rata, actually, where everything is underline how big the percentage is of non-food versus food. But I mean, this is a good example where these two are really dominating it. Not that the other supermarkets are not doing it, but it's more of an incidental sort of thing. So Lidl and Aldi have been designed to have a center aisle or the final aisle before the cashier, basically. So Lidl does it before the cashier, and sorry, Aldi does it before the cashier, and Lidl does it more on a central stage in the store, where you basically have to pass in order to get to the cashier. And in essence, that is very successful for them. They've been by design, and while other stores have more like, okay, then we don't sell food on this location, but we sell non-food for a while. That is all the flexibility, but there is no design for these stores, the full service stores. So Aldi and Lidl are definitely discount supermarkets. Discount supermarkets means that they are known for discounting prices and being cheap, basically. So this is for the lower end of the market, basically. But having said that, anyone buys there, whatever the income. So that's something that I just wanted to share with you guys. I think also as a producer, you need to plan quite far ahead. So if you look at Aldi and Lidl, for example, if you would like to sell to them at this particular moment and you contact the buyer, they are planning at least a year ahead. So if you contact them today, then probably a year from now they might be able to pencil you in somewhere. Um, and yeah, it's usually a tender thing. So they are looking at, okay, I want to have headphones for earphones, basically. Um, it's a generic product, so we are going to write out a tender. So you have 10 different suppliers who can all bid for this. So this is normally the way that these two are working. At least Aldi, I've been part of the Aldi tender several times. I think only once or twice we had actually that we were the ones who were designated, and even once it was with a product that nobody else could supply because we were the rights holder, basically. So yeah, this is something that so as far as my experience goes, you need to really in advance you need to do this and keep in mind that you need to swallow returns. So if you actually have, now for example, I have spent a lot of my time also in computer games. Currently, computer games are not sold on a CD anymore or on a cartridge, but also as code in a box. So this is like a piece of code in a box that you can go to an online shop and download the game. So that is actually sold in a retail box. For example, Lidl in Germany, they have quite a large section of that. And yeah, the issue is like, okay, you sell 30,000 of these things in these boxes into the store, and maybe you get 20,000 back if you are unlucky, because only 10,000 sell and 20,000 come back. So this is quite a large stock risk. Having said that, yeah, of course, you can reuse the stock and sell to someone else. That is something that is quite common. Like I said, with non-food, as long as it's not handled by too many people or the packaging is broken, yeah, you can always reuse it. And there's a lot of closeout companies, of course, that buy remainders of this sort of in and out promotions, basically. So we've come to the end of this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to send me an email at alex@devriessalesconsultancy.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.